Hello, my name is HQ of HQ Reacts. Welcome to my channel. Please do me a favor. Hit the like button, share the stream, and click the notification button for new content.
Hello, y'all. Hello. I'm trying to navigate this weird StreamYard that they have going on. Just have a dual screen, dual this, dual that, which I really don't like, which I really don't care for, right? So I'm trying to navigate it all, right? So we found out that neither party really gives a shit about the working poor. Because the honest to God truth is ACA or Obamacare, as it's called, the ACA as it's called, is really for a specific demographic that would get ACA. It's not for the people who have jobs, right? It's not for them. It wasn't for the poor, like the elderly, the handicapped, and X, Y, and Z. It was for people who had a specific amount of income. It just wasn't a lot of income. So I kind of figured that, but I wasn't sure, because most people can go into the ACA and they can apply for the ACA. Hello. Y'all come in. Hello. Hit the like button, please and thank you. Hit the like button, please and thank you. No, I'm not a brother. I just got the flu. And it makes my throat, my voice very deep. No, but my picture is up there. So ACA is primarily a medical insurance for people that are in between getting Medicaid or Medicare and a regular insurance that people get from that. Like Walmart, they told me that Walmart people don't get insurance. So I didn't know, I didn't know whether Walmart got insurance. I didn't know they didn't get insurance. And I didn't know that they really didn't hire people full time. So you take that, for example, and they need health insurance, right? So that ACA bridged the gap between the people who don't work and the people who have a job that gives them insurance. Because most people have insurance through their job. But this ACA is designed for people who need that help, right? So, and it's called the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act, or Obamacare, or whatever, designed, they got it done in March 2010. So they were on the way of making that ACA. They were going to make it a single payer, just like Medicaid and Medicaid, but because the Democrats always want to pull Republicans along. They always want to pull the Republicans along. They always want the Republicans to come on board. They watered down the ACA to get help from the Republicans, and the Republicans never voted for it. They never wanted the ACA to come into fruition. So now, and they know it, and that's the bad part. The Democrats know that the Republicans are not going to bend to the knee, give them anything when it comes to the ACA. So today we saw the very weak leadership in the Democratic Party. Weak as in weak as in meaning they don't stand for the poor people of this country ahead of their donors. Okay, ahead of their donors. So since they don't stand with the poor people ahead of their donors, that makes them weak, and this is why they capitulated today. Last night. I guess it might have been last night, right? So they gave in last night when they didn't need to. All the cards, they had all of the cards. The Democratic leadership had all the cards. Hey, T. Elizabeth, hey. The Democrats had all of the cards. They had just gotten off a fresh win from the Tuesday night. Okay? They had just gotten off a fresh win. But they decided that somebody got to Chuck Schumer, somebody got to all of the senators, all of them. They really don't want to help the poor people in this country. Okay? They really don't want to help the poor people in this country. And the problem is that we all get screwed. It's the people between the working class, the really working class, who get Medicaid and Medicare from their job, and the poor people. Okay? So now we're stuck. Here's the thing. We, or Chuck Schumer, gave up their position. They had them. They had the Republicans. Because what was the Republican? That's all they had to do. That's all they had to do was go home and say, I ain't fucking with y'all. Drip D8, you need to stop. You need to stop. Because if you can't think beyond your nose, ain't nobody talking to you. The whole point was blue can win in blue states all day long. The point was the margins was the whole shebang. That was the beauty of the win. If you don't understand margins, then you're dumb. Stop talking about blue winning blue. Everybody expected blue to lead blue. Everybody expected that. The margins, who voted for who, what demographic voted for what, is what's important. Stop saying the obvious. Starting to sound like a zombie. So here's the thing. The Democrats gave up the position of having the Republicans over the barrel. See, if you don't know you got somebody over a barrel, you don't know you got all the leverage over somebody, then you're going to fumble the ball. This is what the Democrats, the weak-ass Democrats, did. They fumbled the ball. If I was in charge, I'd have went home and went on vacation for 3 months. American people be damned. The American people gave them a mandate on Tuesday. The American people gave them a mandate on Tuesday. Shut your ass up, Drip D. Shut your ass up. Because you dumb, and now you're going to piss me off. I'm already pissed that our dumbass, our weak-ass Democrats capitulated to this clown, this orange clown and his gang of thieves. Excuse me. I'm already mad that they capitulated to them. Okay? I can't wait. So here's the thing. They gave everything up for a promise of a vote. The Republicans have lied to the Democrats before. So I don't understand why they would have even believed any of those things anyway. I don't understand why they would have believed that the Republicans are going to give them a opportunity to vote on it. The Republicans have to bring the bill to the floor. Chuck Schumer cannot bring the bill to the floor. So they're waiting on the behest. They're waiting on the good graces of the Republicans to bring a bill to the floor that the Republicans don't even want to vote on. The Republicans don't even want to vote on it. They don't want to give you health care. They are standing on what they stood on in July. In July, they said they didn't want this bill. They said it in July. We don't want this Medicare. We don't give a damn about these people having Medicare. These people can go fly. And you have to remember, they're talking about the people that make between 15,000 and say 30,000. They're talking about those people who make between 15,000 and 30,000. They told those people to go fly in July. They said, y'all can kick rocks. We ain't supporting y'all in this ACA. And now people are piling on. ACA ain't no good. ACA ain't X, Y, and Z. Okay, so what are you all going to do with those people who were on ACA? Seeing as how all of those people are going to get off of that ACA because they won't be able to afford it. It's going to be 50,000 plus people that get off of it, and then they end up taking dirt naps. So what do you do about those 50,000 that's going to end up taking dirt naps because we had this weak Democratic leadership that caved on bullshit, on a promise, caved on a promise of a vote that the Republicans don't want to give them. Okay? The Republicans have never voted yes on any kind of government Medicaid, medical at all. Ever, ever, ever. They've never voted yes on anything when it came to regards of medical. I don't understand why the Democrats gave up the position that they gave up just for a promise. And the thing is, I know that these people were set this shit up. We know they set this shit up simply because the people that voted for this bill were either two people or three people who had already won their seat, two or three people who are retiring, or two or three people who were going to vote for it anyway, who didn't give a damn. So all of these people had to land on the sword. All of these people who were already getting ready to quit, retire, X, Y, and Z. So those are the ones. So now you think we stupid, like we don't know that this was planned. They would have capitulated on Thursday, right? It's not for most Americans. Drip D, you're gonna have to start doing your research. We don't allow dumb shit in the chat. ACA is for people who make between 15 and 30,000. Of course, they're not going to be able to afford it when the premiums go up. But that's better. What they're paying for is better than what they're not going to have after December. Maybe you don't pay for it, but there's other people who need medical. Shut your ass up if you don't have no damn solutions. So these people gave it up for this ACA. Instead of all of them saying, instead of the Democrats saying with a weak position, they had, see, what does it say when you have somebody over a barrel and you don't know they have somebody over a barrel? Like I said, I would have walked in and told them, you need 60 votes, right? If you need 60 votes, you better come over here because we ain't bending. We ain't talking to y'all. We not having a conversation. I'd have turned around and looked at all the senators and say, hey, 3-month vacation. We having a 3-month vacation. We ain't talking to them until they come over here and tell us that they're gonna put the ACA subsidies back into this bill. We ain't talking to them. So don't call me. Don't call my office. Do all the negotiating between you and Donald Trump. And when y'all come back and talk to us about that ACA and putting it back in the bill, present a bill to us that has the ACA in it. Then we can talk to y'all. Okay? The whole point is they capitulate. They threw us under a bus. No, they didn't throw me under the bus. I don't know how. We don't know how these ACA we don't know how this subsidies ending is going to affect regular people who get regular medical through their employer. We don't know how that affects us at all. We do know that the people who make between 15 and 30,000 are the people that normally are on ACA. Okay, those are the people that are normally on ACA. And I'm not saying that I'm not saying that their payments are reasonable. I'm hoping that they're reasonable. I don't know. I was going to go on the exchange and I was going to go in there and see what they would give me as a older person, as a retired person, see what they would offer me. Because I know that somebody that's making X, Y, and Z can possibly get on Medicaid, because I know that they extended it. They had extended it, right, to expanded the eligibility for the public program, the Medicaid. Okay. So it was a bunch of marketplaces called exchanges, right? So individuals and families could buy insurance. And people keep saying, oh, well, it went up. It went up. It went up because of yes, they had the cards. The whole point was they had the card. If I tell you I'm not coming to the table, no, wait a minute, hold on. You're the person that's in charge of everything. The public is blaming you for everything. And you want me to help you so the pain or the everything will stop. But you want me to help you. I'm not coming over there to help you till you do what I say, until you do some of the things that I want you to do. Okay? So they had all of the cards. And then when we won all of the elections, we won all of the elections on Tuesday. We had even more of cards, even more cards. You see there? You see Republicans? America blames you guys. You guys need us Democrats. We ain't coming over there till you put them ACA exchange subsidies back into this bill. They had them over a barrel, and then they just gave it back. That's wild. They just gave it back. That's the way most of us Democrats are looking at it. You gave it away. Okay? That's the whole point. They gave it away. What is why women should not be in charge? What are you talking about, Black America? What are you talking about? The whole point was to force them to fix ACA. We already in a recession. Convergence. We already in a recession. What do you mean? We would have been, official or not, we're already there. Just because you're not calling it that don't mean we ain't there. They got nothing. If you can just close, if you can just stop, if you can just go back and if you can just close down right now, if you could just close down from on strike right now, then why the fuck didn't you just do it on the first week and get it over with? You could have got the same garbage that they got the second week. They didn't get anything for the 40 days that they were down. That's the whole point. What is the point of holding people hostage if you were going to capitulate to a certain point? Oh my God, everybody's hurting. Oh my God, we're going into a global recession. Oh my, you knew that before you knew that before you went into this shutdown. You knew that. You knew it was going to be a global recession. You knew all of this. So why back out now? Why not just capitulate on the second day? Why not just say, fuck it? Oh no, we gonna have too much. No, you took 40 days and 40 nights of nothing, and then you got nothing. We could have been done with this 2 weeks in. We could have been done with this with a weekend. Oh no, let's just let's just stay for 2 weeks, and then we just gonna show them 2 weeks worth of resistance, and then we're gonna give it up. Okay. The Republicans are getting blamed for it. Now these weak ass Democrats get blamed for it. Here, let me show you. What did they get? What did they get for this? What did they get for this?
Spending bill passes, they get SNAP benefits. They did halt the reduction in force notices, the mass layoffs the Trump administration conducted during the shutdown. But that wouldn't have happened if the government wasn't shut down, or at least not in the same form. They got nothing on ACA subsidies. They got a vote in the Senate. There's no vote scheduled in the House. There'll be some efforts to get a vote in the House, but Mike Johnson has been abundantly clear that that's not something he's interested in doing. So I do agree with Allie that Wednesday does feel a bit quick for a package of this magnitude. But the speaker said he wants everybody to be back within 36 hours after a Senate vote. And again, it's tough to see Democrats just falling in line, but that jet fumes dynamic after being in session for so long is going to be very strong.
So these people right here were the ones who capitulated. Right here. He's retiring. He just got reelected. One of these people are retired. He's retiring, I know. He don't give a damn. One of these ladies is retiring, and the other ones just got reelected. So you picked all of your least vulnerable people, to fall on the sword. So you think we were dumb that we knew what was going on as soon as you said you caved. So all it is 40 days and 40 nights. 40 days and 40 nights didn't mean anything. It didn't mean anything. We could have gave up in 2 days and been done. So now people get nothing. So now we got 50,000 plus people who gonna be taking dirt naps. 50,000 people that gonna lose their lives. People gonna get kicked off of Medicaid, Medicare, ACA, all of that. And you have a lot of people saying, "Oh, ACA ain't no good. ACA X, Y, and Z ain't no good." Well, that's better than anything. It's better than nothing. Okay, before ACA came along, people couldn't get any kind of health care. People was just in the street. Medicaid had not been extended. Okay, in ACA, Medicare is extended. Medicaid is extended. The whole point is, why can't you all fix ACA? But they don't want to fix ACA. Nobody wants to fix ACA except the Democrats, and they're not in charge. So as long as the Democrats are not in charge, ACA won't get fixed. So all of those people are going to lose their health care. HQ, are those 50,000 people more important than the people that were working? Yes, those 50,000 people who are going to die are more important than the people that are working without insurance. Obviously, that's an obvious yes. What do you mean? Okay. So the whole point is, all of those people, the point is, those people are going to get off of ACA. They're not going to be able to afford it. They got preconceived conditions. They got pre-existing conditions. They have chronic illnesses. They have X, Y, and Z. Yeah, it's some weird. I don't understand what's going on. It's some weird shit to healism. I don't understand what's going on. I was trying to figure it out. I didn't want to dual stream, but apparently that's it. Won't be cut. Medicaid and Medicare won't be cut. Medicaid and Medicare was cut in July, drip dummy. It was cut in July. Get into the game. Be quiet if you don't know what you're talking about. That was a part of the ACA. Shut up. They cut some of the Medicaid and Medicare and ACA in the summer already. Shut up, Drip, if you don't know what you're talking about. So they already cut portions of Medicaid and Medicare in the summer in the big, beautiful bill. Those were the things that they wanted them to put back into the bill so that people would be able to get medical insurance. Okay. So that they would be able to continue with their Medicaid and Medicare and ACA. But all of that has already been taken out. The subsidies for ACA and a portion of the Medicaid and Medicare. So all of those people are going to lose. The people who were on ACA are going to, their premiums are going to go up 3-4 times. So off the rip, if I'm paying $400 a month for insurance and now it goes up to $1,200, obviously I'm going to drop the ACA. Regardless of whatever medical condition I got, I can't afford the $1,200. And these subsidies, this ACA is tailored to people between 15 and 30,000. The bulk of the people are 15,000 to 30,000. So you know they don't make no money. So when they premiums go up because the ACA subsidies are not there, then that means that 50, 60 millions of people are going to be kicked off of ACA and Medicare and Medicaid. And so that's where the people who are going to be sticking, croak, those are the people that are going to be off, lose their lives. Those are the people there. Okay. When I say people are going to lose their lives, that's what I mean. When they drop the health insurance and they have a vote, don't get me wrong. The Republicans promised the Democrats a vote. Okay. It all depends on if they work for a company, Black America. If they work for a company that offers medical insurance, they might take that medical insurance. But what if their company doesn't offer them insurance? That means they had to go to the ACA. Okay. Y'all see what you got to deal with every day. Every day you got to talk to these goofies. Every day. Every day you got to talk to goofies like Drip. They didn't just cut Medicaid and Medicare fraud, Drip. They cut it because they didn't want to pay for it anymore. Okay? So they promised the Democrats at the end of the year that they were going to have a vote. The Republicans have never voted for medical ever. So they're going to hold a vote and every Republican is going to say no. And they're going to be right where they are today, not getting anything. That's why I said they should not have capitulated. They should have held the line and made the Republicans change their shit. Now they won't change at all because they have no reason to. Because at the end of the year, they only have a promise of a vote, a promise of a vote. Okay? A promise of a vote. What does that mean? That means we don't care about what you want.
Standing up to Donald Trump didn't work. It actually gave him more power. And then, so standing up to Donald Trump didn't work. It actually gave him more power. And then, so standing up to Donald Trump didn't work. It actually gave him more power. And then, so standing up to Donald Trump didn't work. It actually gave him more power. And then,
and this is the criticism that people have always offered against Vote Blue no matter who, which I think it's complicated, I think it's conditional, but the fundamental argument is correct. The fundamental argument is if you have no standards for which Democrats you elect, you'll just accept any old Democrat as long as they're not a Republican. This is going to keep happening.
Right.
This is why you have to go as hard against the Democrats as you do the Republicans. He's not even technically a Democrat. Democratic caucus, whatever you prefer. You understand the sentiment, you know? Either way, they're taking the blame for this one. Oh, man.
The group of moderates who broke ranks and voted with Republicans in the legislation to fund the government and hold a later vote on extending Affordable Care Act tax subsidies that expire January 1st. Senator, thanks so much for being with us. Why did you decide to vote with Republicans to open the government?
Well, Joe, you have to go back to what the strategy was at the beginning of the shutdown. There were two goals, both of which I support. One was standing up to Donald Trump. The other was getting some resolution on the ACA premium tax credit issue. The problem was the shutdown wasn't accomplishing either goals, and there was practically, well, there was zero likelihood that it was going to. In terms of standing up
That's
to
why.
Donald
That's
Trump,
why.
the shutdown actually gave him more power. Exhibit A being what he's done with SNAP.
Yeah, he
and
was
SNAP
doing
benefits
great
across the country. Oh, by
Yeah, I got a better one. I'm sorry. Hold on. I got a better one. This is the real Democrat right here. Here we go. Hold on. Oh, okay. Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Some people would think that this is a capitulation if you only agree to a standalone vote.
Need to understand how the Senate works.
Yeah, I don't know how to fix that. I don't know how to fix the double stream.
Standing up to Donald Trump didn't work. It's been 6 weeks. There's been the Republicans made it clear they weren't going to discuss the health care issue, the Affordable Care Act tax credits, until the shutdown was over.
See, they weren't gonna talk about it. The Republicans didn't want to talk about it. They didn't want to they didn't want to re-up the Medicaid or the Medicare, or they didn't want to give nothing. Okay? But here's the thing. Your shit had to be bigger than theirs. My dick would have been bigger than theirs. Oh, hell no. You ain't coming to the table. We all going on vacation. Exactly what I would have did to them.
We have a guaranteed vote by a guaranteed date on a bill that we will write.
That means jack shit. That means jack shit.
No one in...
Because the Republicans can let you write as many bills as you want to. That doesn't mean that they're going to let you pass it. They're going to vote on it. The Republicans are going to vote on it, and they're all going to say no. Okay?
The Senate changed.
James, this is about the future of poor people and people who need help in this country. If your dumb ass don't know how to put down the Democrat Republican bullshit, what the hell? What the hell is wrong with y'all? The hell is wrong with half of y'all?
Chamber wants to extend the ACA tax credits more than I do.
This is the beginning to show and fight for Americans across the country.
It ain't gonna be none of that shit. They ain't gonna fight for jack shit. There's nothing to fight for.
We have an opportunity also to put Republicans on the record.
They're already on record. They're already on record. They went on record this July and said they ain't giving y'all medical or Medicaid. They don't care whether you die or get broke off. They not giving you medical or Medicaid. They don't care. The Republicans don't care. And they said, the Democrats seem to think getting a promise for a vote in December or beginning January means anything. It means nothing, because all of the Republicans are going to vote no. And they're in the majority, which means it ain't going to pass, which means today is the best that you could have got, and you got nothing.
On the ACA, are they committed to doing this?
Those were some of the excuses from the 8 pathetic Democrats who capitulated to Republicans. But according to them, this was actually a win, and we're all just too stupid to comprehend the 4-dimensional game of chess that they're playing. But if you're mad that they caved, don't you worry, because when funding expires at the end of January, they might not support funding then if Republicans go back on their promise for a vote on the ACA subsidies in December.
If the president doesn't agree and Republicans block the extension of ACA subsidies, would you guys be willing to vote again against government funding in January when this funding runs out?
That's certainly an option that I think everybody will consider.
Oh, I bet the Republicans are shaking in their boots at that kind of threat. Like, they just beat you in a game of chicken, but I'm sure that they expect you to hold strong the next time that there's a funding showdown, and they expect you to not capitulate like you always do every single time. And I want to be very clear about what these Democrats did. They effectively voted with Republicans to double and triple our healthcare premiums. People are going to die because of this capitulation. Because even if John Thune gives them the vote that he promised in December, which it's not going to happen, but I mean, even if it does happen, there's no guarantee that it's going to pass, which is why the shutdown was so important, because it was your leverage to get Republicans to vote affirmatively to extend the ACA subsidies that are expiring. But now they don't have to vote for shit because Democrats gave up their leverage. And to add insult to injury, Republicans didn't even agree to a vote in the House. In fact, here's what Mike Johnson said when he was asked whether or not he would allow a vote in the House if Thune struck a deal with Democrats in the Senate.
No, because we did our job and I'm not part of the negotiation. The House did its job on September 19th. I'm not promising anybody anything. I'm going to let this process play out.
In other words, it's over. They folded. They gave up their leverage, and now our healthcare costs are going to go up because of what they did. They fucked us, even though they had momentum after Tuesday's election. Trump literally admitted that the showdown was hurting Republicans more than Democrats, but what did they do? Well, they chose to throw it all away, probably because their donors told them to end the shutdown. And now nobody's going to believe that Republicans are responsible for the shutdown, because the question is, well, okay, why didn't these 8 Democrats just vote 40 days ago to reopen government? Whereas if they held strong and got Republicans to buckle, then it would be, well, why didn't Republicans just vote to extend the ACA subsidies 40 days ago? But that's all out the window. And if I had to guess, I think that they were already planning to capitulate, but they wanted to wait until after the election so that way their base wouldn't be too pissed off before they cast their votes. But another element to the story that is disgusting is the gaslighting that these Democrats are engaging in. The 8 Democrats who caved, they're not up for election until 2028 or 2030. One of them, I believe Jeanne Shaheen, is retiring, which is long enough for voters to forget this betrayal. And even though...
Do you honestly think this is an L? Do you think this is an L, Osmos God? Are you that pathetic that it's an L for me instead of it being an L for the American people? This is the shit you Republicans do. You don't stand for nothing. This is an L for all of American people who don't have any health care, for all of the poor people. Stop coming over here caping for rich people, Osmos God. Stop doing that. You maggots make me sick when you come over here and cape for rich people. This is an L for all the poor people. What the fuck are you talking about? L for me. Are you mad? Are you mad?
Chuck Schumer put out videos insisting that he was voting against this funding package. He's the one who gave them the green light behind the scenes, as journalist David Dayen reports. And
nobody set the subsidies to expire. The law extended them only until this December. It wasn't the Democrats.
Shaheen confirmed that this was the case in an interview on Fox News.
Did you do this outside leadership, and was there a big push for you not to join the others and break the 60 threshold?
No, we kept leadership informed throughout.
In other words, Chuck Schumer knew, and he's putting on this show to obscure his role in order to avoid blowback because he's responsible.
And we know he's responsible. We knew that Chuck Schumer had another agenda. That's the whole point. We need to get rid of all of these people because they just screwed a portion of the electorate that can't afford insurance as it goes. They can't afford insurance now. But because the Democrats were trying to hold out for the poor people, and Chuck Schumer said, "Oh no, let's just give in to them." Now they get nothing. All of those poor people, what the fuck you think those poor people are going to do, and they don't have insurance? What the hell is going to happen now?
And he already got a lot of shit earlier this year when he caved, so he didn't want the backlash again. So that's why he's like putting on this whole charade and why those 8 Democrats are giving him cover. At best, Chuck Schumer failed to whip votes to stop his caucus from betraying their voters, but at worst, he orchestrated the entire fucking thing. Either way, he's culpable here. And there are reports that there were 10 Democrats who were actually planning to cave, but presumably, this is my speculation, they opted to just have 8 Democrats cave in order to minimize backlash because there are a lot of Democrats in vulnerable seats, so they want the party to not be as hated going into 2026. And while all of this is going on behind the scenes, you have Chuck Schumer out in front disingenuously pretending like he's going to continue to fight and that the fight's going to continue regardless of how things come out. Like, I want to show you this video where he's talking about, oh, well, if this happens, we're going to continue to fight, even though he knew that this was the way that the vote was going to go. Just watch this disingenuous bullshit. It's just so infuriating to me.
However this vote turns out, this fight will and must continue. Democrats must fight because of millions of families will lose health care coverage. We must fight because children who are dying of cancer will not get health care coverage. We must fight because a senior citizen cannot afford to pay $25,000 a year just for health insurance. We must fight to keep millions from financial ruin.
And that's what I don't like. They knew this is a game with all of those people. It's a game with the Republicans and the Democrats. It's a game to keep us stuck where we are. The whole point was you all should have gotten that Obamacare taken care of. What you really should have did was you should have just extended Medicare and Medicaid to all of those people. Instead of putting Obamacare or ACA into place, you should have extended the Medicare and Medicaid. Now the Republicans came back around and are trying to get rid of the Medicaid, Medicare, and the ACA. Why not just try to fix it? Okay. Why not try to fix it? Okay. Of course I'm going to vote. Of course I'm going to vote for Democrat, Fred. I am a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. Your company, your party only cares about the rich. Don't come over here caping for the rich people, Fred. Don't come over here caping for the rich people. Don't do that. Okay? Don't do that. Your party has done enough damage to this country. But I think it's a game between both of these parties. I think it's a game to keep people from having from having health care, from getting above. Because if you have decent health care, if your health care doesn't cost that much money, you can work, don't have to worry about going to the doctor. You don't have to worry about getting sick. You don't have to worry about all of those kind of things. Nobody gets played, Fred. You get played. You gave your money to a rich man who gave your money. No, I'm sorry. You got scammed out of your money by a rich man who gave your money to rich men, including Argentina. Shut your ass up. So if you voted for Donald Trump, you the one got scammed. We didn't get scammed. Y'all got scammed. So the whole point was, if we could have got them to fix ACA in some way, shape, or form, if they would have got that, I would have been okay. But they didn't even get that. They didn't get no promise to fix ACA. ACA needs to be fixed. That's the whole point. It needs to be fixed and affordable for these people who make between $15,000 and $30,000.
Great job, Chuck. Love the passion there. You can really tell how much he cares. You know, the fact that he had to read what a staffer wrote for him on a piece of paper instead of just speaking from the heart really demonstrates how much he cares about us losing our healthcare, right? Listen, obviously, he doesn't give a shit about us. He doesn't give a shit.
Difference is, Osmos God, I didn't want my money to go over there. You wanted your money. You wanted to pay for the rich people. You wanted to get scammed out of your money. I didn't want to get scammed out of my money.
About Americans who are going to die because they're going to lose their health care. And if he did care, he wouldn't have let the 8 Democrats that voted to betray us. And this is like, what, the 1,000th fucking betrayal in the last few years? But at least his donors are going to be satisfied with the outcome, right? We might lose healthcare. People might have their premiums double and triple. People might die if they lose their healthcare, but at least the donors are going to be satisfied, right? Because that's what Chuck Schumer cares about at the end of the day. That is all these people care about. But the silver lining is that Chuck Schumer may have just put the final nail in the coffin of his career, because this is the second time in the same year he bent over and spread his ass cheeks for Republicans. And voters are starting to realize that nothing is going to change so long as leadership remains in place. And people are so fucking pissed off that now they're starting to speak out. All 8 of the Democrats are getting ratioed and ripped to shreds on Twitter. And some of their colleagues in the House are also outraged, seeing as how this capitulation reflects.
As they should, as every person in Congress should. Every one of them should lose their job. Republicans and all the leadership. Republicans and Democrats. Thank God we're on track to get rid of the Republicans, because they have no pushback for what's going on. And we need a change in leadership, and we need some kind of pushback. The Republicans have no pushback. I guarantee you, the ACA, these people are going to have no health insurance. The hospital's going to be overrun. All of those things. Because nobody has any pushback for these Republicans. Nobody has any, even including these weak-ass Democrats. Yes, we definitely need term limits, because you need to do whatever you need to do in order to make the country better. When you are not making the country better, you do not deserve to have your position. That includes Democrats. And I'm a middle of the road Democrat, almost an independent. But you need to lose your job. Every last one of these people need to lose their job. If you cannot figure out how to give poor people health care, if you all, none of you all can figure out, Democrat and Republican, can figure out how to give people health care, all of you guys need to lose your jobs. All of y'all need to lose your jobs.
Poorly on the entire party. Axios reports that everyone's furious, from elected Democrats on the left and center to Democratic adjacent organizations like Move On. Becca Balint of Vermont said it was BS and says people need healthcare, damn it, not some lame promise about a mythical future vote. They continue, people are furious, a centrist House Democrat speaking on the condition of anonymity to share details of internal discussions told Axios. It's an awful deal and a total failure to use leverage for anything real. Another Democrat told Axios there is near universal frustration and that everyone seems to be united that we should be opposed and that this isn't a good deal. So there's near universal condemnation within the party, and just to demonstrate how badly these 8 Democrats fucked up, even Ezra Klein and get this, Matt Iglesias condemned them for caving to Republicans. Do you know how badly Democrats have to screw up to be condemned by Matt Iglesias? To show you what I mean, he tweeted, I was sympathetic ex ante to the view that Senate Dems were being pushed by an angry base into a tactically unwise course of action. But in fact, it's worked just fine, and both the polling and election results confirm that. Bizarre to give up now for peanuts. Yeah, so needless to say, when the party is even disappointing Matt fucking Iglesias, they're in pretty bad shape. But to say that they're getting peanuts would be too generous, because they're getting jack fucking shit. And I think that The Onion put it best. Democrats sick of being blamed for cowardice on issues they actually just don't care about. Another one, Chuck Schumer helps pull Democrats back from brink of courage. You know things are bad when a satirical news outlet does a better job at accurately portraying the situation than any mainstream outlet could. But here's the thing. There's always going to be a rotating villain in a party that has effectively controlled opposition for all intents and purposes.
So controlled opposition, meaning you didn't see or hear them say anything. You didn't hear them say or do anything against the Republicans. You didn't hear them say Republicans don't want to give y'all health care. You didn't hear them say Republicans are cowards or Republicans are X, Y, and Z. You didn't hear any of them say that, because they already, all of them are under the same umbrella, getting paid by the same people to screw over the American people. All of them, Republicans and Democrats. That's why they need to be gotten rid of. But see, the problem is the left are in minority. So therefore, they're not the ones that are really the most harmful. The most harmful right now are the Republicans. So those are the ones that have to go. Those are the ones that have to change, because they're not doing anything for the American public. The Republicans they got rid of Medicaid and Medicare. They cut a portion of that out. How much, wait a minute, portion it out. What did they do? Medicare is, okay, they did $536 billion in cuts out of Medicare. Okay. Medicaid is set to see a large reduction in their enrollees, eligibility verification rules, all of that. So it's a whole bunch of cuts. Okay. Even though it doesn't happen right like immediately, all of these things are going to be cut, specifically out of the Democratic social programs. So we're going to be screwed. So neither party wants to help the common man, the poor man. Neither one of them wants to help the common poor man.
If it's not Joe Lieberman, then it's Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema. If it's not them, then it's John Fetterman and Jeanne Shaheen. There's always going to be somebody that they present us with as scapegoats, so that way we direct our anger towards them and think about the Democratic Party's numerous failures as individualistic as opposed to systemic, when it is indeed systemic. It is nothing more than political theater, what we're seeing. And this is probably the most explicit example of that I've ever seen.
This is all political theater. All of it, including the Republicans and everything. All of this shit is theater, okay? The whole point is we need a whole nother party. We need a different party. We need some kind of party that started that we need to get rid of these parties. We need to support maybe a working class party. I don't know, a working class party, a poor man's party. We need to figure from the ground up, we need to support different candidates. Different candidates that are not Democrat and Republican, because they're not meaning anything. The Republicans proved that they were for the rich this summer when they decided that they were going to give all the tax cuts to the rich. They didn't give jack shit to the poor people. They could have extended the Medicaid, Medicare to the poor people. They could have did that, but they didn't want to. They cut all of that out. That's the whole point. They got rid of all of that. From poor people, y'all, between 15 and 30,000, they got rid of those subsidies for those poor people, which meant those subsidies would go up, which they knew once the subsidies went up, the Republicans knew once those subsidies went sky high and were taken away, that the poor people were going to abandon the ACA because they couldn't afford it. They knew what they were doing.
But make no mistake about it. Almost every single Democrat is to blame here. Some more than others, yes, but all of them are to blame because they are collectively protecting leadership from accountability when they should be throwing them to the fucking wolves. Case in point.
Do you support Chuck Schumer to lead Senate Democrats going forward?
So, Chris, again, we found ourselves in a situation I don't think the Senate has found itself in before.
I will note, Senator, that given two opportunities, you did not voice your unequivocal support for Chuck Schumer, but his job, at least for the moment, is not over. If this compromise plan does lead to the government...
I will say Chuck Schumer and the leadership of the Senate are dealing with an incredibly complex situation.
Now, if you look online, people are reacting to that clip positively, and they're viewing Mark Kelly's refusal to endorse Schumer's leadership as significant. But personally, I regard it as cowardice and spinelessness, because he is not saying what he should be explicitly saying, but he's not alone, because even Bernie Sanders, like others, are blaming the 8 Democrats, which they should do, of course, but he's not naming Chuck Schumer or calling out leadership's failures altogether that got us to this point. And even though Hakeem Jeffries kept his caucus together, he's still defending Chuck Schumer and agreed that he's an effective leader that should keep his job. And even though that's objectively untrue, Hakeem Jeffries knows that he needs to defend Chuck Schumer, because if Schumer falls, then he knows he's next. But nothing is going to ever change if leadership remains in place. But the dam is actually starting to crack, because Ro Khanna, to my knowledge, became the first sitting Democrat to explicitly call on Schumer to be replaced. Mark Pocan essentially did the same thing while not naming Schumer explicitly. So Democrats are starting to dip their toes in the water to see how calling on leadership to resign feels. But it's our job to kick their asses in the fucking water and force them to call out leadership and put pressure on them to resign. See, if we pressure Schumer himself to resign, that's not going to work, because he doesn't care what we think. He's proved time and time again that he's not going to heed our calls for him to resign. The last time he buckled, he was going on a book tour as if everything was copacetic after he just fucked us over. He doesn't care. So that's...
He's beholden to his donors. They are all beholden to their donors. AIPAC, Israel, you name it, they're beholden to those people. above and beyond us poor people. So they don't care. They're going to do what they want to do because they don't care about the regular, everyday, average American person. They know people are going to die because they don't have this ACA. They know people are going to be broke off come January because they don't have ACA. They don't care. They don't care one way or the other.
That's why I'm asking all of you who have Democratic senators to call on them and politely demand that they ask Chuck Schumer to resign. If you have one of the 8 Democrats who betrayed us, then call on them and let them know that they disappointed you. But if you have a different Democratic Party senator who didn't betray you but hasn't called on Chuck Schumer to resign, which is all of them, I'm going to put a link under the like button to a directory that'll give you the phone numbers of your U.S. senators. My senators are Ron Wyden and Jeff Merkley, and I'm going to call them to initiate what I'm calling Operation Oust Schumer, because we cannot let this stand. If there is no accountability for what just happened, then nothing is ever going to change. And it's not like getting rid of leadership is going to solve all of the Democratic Party's problems, but accountability is the first step to actually course correcting.
Yes, and we got to do that. We got to start holding them all accountable. We got to start holding all of the Democrats accountable. We got to start definitely holding the Republicans accountable. The problem is, I don't get to vote for Schumer. I'm not in his state, so I don't vote for Schumer. Makes no sense. My whole point is we have to hold all of these senators accountable, including the Republicans, when they do bullshit like they did with this big, beautiful garbage bill. Nobody that was poor got anything out of this big, beautiful bill. Oh, that's what I meant to ask. Whoever voted Republican, any of you maggots, put in the chat what the big, beautiful bill did for you. You all hit the like button, the subscribe button, the share button. Please and thank you. Put all of that down. Put your like button, share button, subscribe button. Do it now. Like button. Click the like button. It's right there under the video. Please and thank you. Click the like button. Okay? I don't have Schumer in my state, so I would not vote for Schumer. But we have to start holding these people accountable, Republican and Democrat, until they start doing things for the poor people. Because the poor people are not getting anything out of this government. We just keep going on and on and on and on. I want to know, what did the big, beautiful bill do for you all? Since you all like to cape for rich people, I'd like to know what it did for you poor people. Okay? And that's the problem with you, user. You live in this country too. And you all haven't done anything for this country either. That's the problem.
So the first one I'm going to call on camera is Ron Wyden. His number is 202-224-52.
Shut your ass up, Rainy girl. Don't come over here caping for rich people. Don't come over here caping for the rich people who gave your money away. You got scammed out of your money, and then the scammer gave your money to rich men, and then the rich men gave Argentina money, scammed you out of money like that. Don't come over here caping for no rich people, Rainy girl.
42, and please do not call my senators, call your senators, because we need all of them to know that we are done.
How you got poor people over here caping for rich people against poor people? Make it make sense.
With leadership, this was the final straw.
Welcome to Verizon Wireless. Your call cannot be completed as dialed. Please check the number and dial again. Announcement for welcome to Verizon.
All of our money got, no, the difference is, Fred, I didn't get scammed. The people who voted Republican got scammed. We didn't vote Republican, but our money had to go over there. So we got scammed. You got scammed. We didn't get scammed. We knew that he was going to scam y'all. We knew that.
Wireless. Your call cannot be completed as dialed. Please check the number and dial again.
Okay, let me try Merkley. I don't know why it's not going through. I'll get another number for Wyden in a second.
Office, how can I help you?
Hi, this is a constituent of Senator Merkley. I just wanted to call and request that he become the first senator to call on Chuck Schumer to resign.
I've got a little note of that now. Was there anything else you wanted to add?
Yeah, while I'm at it, if he could sign on to Senator Chris Van Hollen's legislation to do an arms embargo on the UAE for funding the RSF, which is committing genocide in Sudan, that would also be really great as well.
Okay, I'll make a note of that one.
Thank you.
But thank you for calling in today.
Yeah, thank you so much. And please tell the senator that I'm pleased that he's one of the best senators in the country. But I think that it would be awesome if he got the ball rolling on getting rid of leadership that is just not getting it done, to put it mildly.
I hear you. I'll get that logged down and pass it off to the senator. But thanks for calling in, and I hope you have a good day.
You too. Thank you so much.
Bye.
That's how you do it. You call up your senator and you say, I'm not satisfied with what you're doing. And so therefore you can log into that. You can call them and then do that with your senator. Everybody can do that with their senator.
Okay, so I'm going to call Ron Wyden's Portland office. 9 times out of 10, you're probably going to get an answering machine. But, you know, sometimes you get to talk to a person and just be polite because they're not responsible. They work for shitty, corrupt senators. So be polite, but, you know, don't be afraid to tell them how you feel.
Yeah, but that's better than the calling. The calling can be logged and they can log the calls. Nobody said it was going to do X, Y, and Z. But the whole point is to get millions of callers on record. Get people on record as calling to say they're dissatisfied with their they're satisfied with their leadership, instead of being just sheep and not doing anything. Well, that's all we have are people bitching and complaining. Oh, it's always gonna be this way. We can't do anything. We don't with X, Y, and Z. Of course, if you don't have anything to say, you don't want to do anything, that's fine and dandy. Some of us want to get involved with this, our government. Some of us want our government to be better. Some of us want our government to work for all of us. That's the whole point. Do you want the government to work for you? Do you want the government to work better for you? Or we just going to take it up the ass every time they want to take our money? Okay. That's all everybody is doing now. The only thing you can do is start at the bottom. And hopefully you make a change one way or the other. All I know is I'm sick of all of these Republicans and these Democrats. Sick of all of them taking the money and saying they're helping American people. Yeah, brain rot, run wild. They running wild in here. They crazy up in here. The government should work for us. Are you crazy, JD? What the JD? Are you crazy? Are you crazy? Y'all wild. You come in here with that bullshit again, don't y'all? Zombies. Okay. We don't have to deal with the calling, but
sending weapons to Israel, who is committing a genocide on the Palestinian people, and stop taking AIPAC money in 2025. There's no reason why you should be still supporting them. On top of that, support Medicare for all, because if we had a universal single-payer healthcare system that was free at the point of service, we wouldn't be in this predicament in the first place. And you've never supported Medicare for all. And if you don't actually start changing for the better, I might have to think seriously about voting for a primary opponent next time you're up for election. So let's get the ball rolling. Let's get Schumer out. Otherwise, nothing is going to change. Thank you so much for your consideration. All right, so you know what to do. Call your senators and let them know that this is not okay. They must request that Senator Schumer resign. This is Operation Oust Chuck Schumer, and it starts with us. He's not going to go down if we call his office, but you know, if you call your senator and let them know you're not happy, then that's how maybe we give them a nudge in the right direction. So make those calls.
Yeah, so this is where we at. So this is where we at. This is what we got to do. We got to do something because the leadership has to go. We got to get rid of the leadership. I don't know how it is, but some of us have got to get on the same page. Okay. See, the problem is people have a problem with ACA. ACA needs to be fixed.
Out there who's making $85,000 a year. That's not that's not billionaires or anything like that, but that's a higher earner in this case. Here's their current premium, $7,225 per year. That's 8.5% of their income. That's sort of the top end under the current rules. Under the change, if it expires, that will jump to $25,000 per year. That's almost a 30% increase. That's almost 30% of their income. Not an.
I couldn't believe that they booed his ass, Ty Pro. I couldn't believe they booed him.
30% of their income for the year. That's a tough thing if you're making $85,000 a year.
Just made it clear they weren't going to discuss the health care issue, the Affordable Care Act tax credits.
Thank you, Ty Pro. Member for 3 months. HQ, keep cooking, and I'm glad they booed Trump. Lions won on Sunday. Ooh, that's bogus. They did. People can't stand Trump. That's the honest to God truth. They can't really stand him. But they got to put up with him, and we'll hopefully, when we get to next midterm, we can burn up either the House or the Senate or both. Because if we get House and Senate or both, oh yeah, he will be impeached. That's for sure. But all his administration, if they get another president, if they get a Democratic president in 2028, I believe it'll be Gavin Newsom. And then they might try to run, what is his name? The gay boy, the gay one, the one that's the bisexual or gay. What's his name? J.D. Vance. 9 times out of 10, they probably going to try to run him. It's going to be impossible. Oh, it's impossible. Okay, we'll see. The blue wave is coming. It'll come again. We ain't worried about it. Because they can't stand Trump. He's at his lowest rating, 37%. He's at the lowest rating that he's ever been. They can't stand him. Nobody can stand him. Even his party can't stand him. That's why they fighting. That's why they over there fighting now. That's why you got Nick Fuentes over there fighting with the Shapiro and what is it, Candace Owens and all of them goofy people. That's why they over there fighting, because they trying to figure out what the fuck they gonna do after he kicks the bucket. They can't stand him
until the shutdown was over.
My vote today was to do 2 things. One is to make sure that the government is functioning so that our kids eat, so that our elderly citizens eat, so that our air traffic controllers can get some sleep and earn money, get paid while they are working, and continue the fight to a realistic platform to get the premium tax cuts done. And if that is not successful, then shame on the Republican Party and shame on Donald Trump.
Most of us up here in the group of 8 that voted for this tonight have voted repeatedly with the Democratic strategy, but after 40 days, it wasn't going to work.
We have a guaranteed vote by a guaranteed date on a bill that we will write.
Which means nothing. Which means the Republicans are going to vote no on everything. And they're in the majority, which means getting a vote, guaranteed vote, written by you means nothing.
That the Republicans will write, although I do think it's important for us.
That's the problem with you, Mad Lady Libby. They're tired of the Republicans, not the Democrats. They're tired of the Republicans. Please understand where you all are at in history. That's why you're having the infighting that you're having now. They're turning on each other. Please understand where you stand. Please understand where you stand.
So here's an explosive update on the government shutdown is what I'm hearing, right? So it's not what you're being told. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, we just had a blue wave because they can't stand Democrats. Libby, you're a zombie.
The headlines say it's about health care and rising premiums. You've heard it all, right? And then Democrats are saying that Trump wants to raise the cost of Obamacare. Well, it's not that he wants to. That's not the full picture. Here's what's actually going on. So when Obamacare, which, as you know, is the Affordable Care Act, first came in, it made health insurance mandatory. But after COVID, President Biden signed new legislation that temporarily expanded subsidies, basically tax credits, to make health insurance cheaper for Americans. Now, these weren't just discounts. And here's how it works. I'm pretty scary to think about it. Department of the Treasury sent the difference in cash directly to the insurance companies. So if your premium was, let's say, $600 a month, and the new plan lowered it to $400, the government literally paid the $200 difference straight to your insurer. That's billions of tax dollars going out every single month directly to private insurance companies. Those enhanced subsidies expire on the 31st of January or 31st of December 2025. And starting in January, that money stops. And when it stops, premiums go back up fast. Millions of Americans will suddenly see their costs go up by 20 or 30% or more. So we got to do something. So why is Washington gridlocked? Well, because those subsidies aren't just helping you. They're a cash pipeline for the insurance industry. And there it is. It's also free money for illegal health insurance. Boom, there it was. And when that pipeline closes, the insurance companies lose billions of free money. That's why the Democrats are filibustering and refusing to move forward. They're not doing it for you. They're doing it for the companies funding their re-election campaigns and the illegals who they hope will vote for them. Insurance companies, pharmaceutical giants, corporate donors, the groups that pump millions into campaign coffers every cycle is who we're talking about. They're telling the politicians, you either extend this program or we're going to fund your opponent next election. And that's exactly what's happening. The Democrats are shuffling. So the government stays shut down. The American people get held hostage, and the money keeps flowing. Not to you, but to the middlemen. So let's call it what it is. This shutdown isn't about protecting Americans. It's about protecting a cash pipeline from the U.S. Treasury straight into the private corporations and a new voter bloc for the Democrats. And until we break that loop, until citizens start leading, not career politicians protecting their donors, nothing changes. That's the citizen leadership I always keep talking about. Focusing on what's real, following the money and demanding accountability, not headlines. Because the truth is simple. If you're paying the bill, then you deserve to know where your money actually goes. Wouldn't you agree?
To no one's surprise and everyone's disappointment, the Democrats have caved. Yes. Hate to say that we saw this coming, but they held out longer than we thought they would. I think it's important to note that everyone who voted for the bill is not up for re-election in 2026. Most of them are all above the age of 70 and may not even be running for re-election when they're up in for re-election. I think it's like 2028, 2030. It's a bummer. It's disappointing. Supposedly, the leader of the Senate, John Thune, said that they're going to vote on extending the ACA subsidies no later than the second week of December. But the leader of the House, Mike Johnson, said that he's pretty much against the Obamacare subsidies. Look at my hair. I don't care. It's 11:42 p.m. It's gonna be an interesting week. The government is still not open yet. This just means that the filibuster is broken so that the Senate can vote on the CR. And since the Senate Democrats voted to vote on the bill, they are going to vote for the bill. Then it's going to go to the House where they have enough votes to pass it since the Republicans have the majority. And then it's going to go to Trump, who's going to sign it. I'm not sure yet how long the CR is going to extend. I'll try to get that information and get back to you guys. But it's disappointing. I really, really hope that the Republicans stick to their promise and pass something extending the healthcare subsidy.
Well, we know that they're not going to do that, hon. We know that for a fact. We know they're not going to pass anything to extend the Medicare and the Medicaid. They already stood on, in July, cutting all the people off of medical and Medicaid. All those people going to get kicked off of Medicare and Medicaid. The Republicans already did it in July. They just waiting for the end of the year. So people keep hoping that the Republicans are going to do it, but they're not going to do it. Ty, I don't know why you arguing with all those racists in the chat. They ain't nothing but racists. Plus, they bigots. Plus, they hate gays, trans, immigrants, Hispanics, brown. They hate everybody. Everybody. Those are Republican ghouls. They're called ghouls and zombies because they don't stand on nothing. Ain't no sense in arguing with them people. You just having fun. You just batting at nobody that has no kind of a thought process. All the ghouls.
But I'm not betting on it. Anyway, just wanted to update you guys.
It ain't illegals getting cooked.
Happy
So here's an explosive update on the government shutdown is what I'm hearing, right? So it's not what you're being told. That's all I got to say. The headlines say it's about healthcare and rising premiums. You've heard it all, right? And then Democrats are saying that Trump wants to raise the cost of Obamacare. Well, it's not that he wants to. That's not the full picture. Here's what's actually going on. So when Obamacare, which, as you know, is the Affordable Care Act, first came in, it made health insurance mandatory. But after COVID, President Biden signed new legislation that temporarily expanded subsidies, basically tax credits, to make health insurance cheaper for Americans. Now, these weren't just discounts. And here's how it worked. I'm pretty scary to think
Oh
about.
my God. Did you just say the Medicare and Medicaid was extended? No, it wasn't. It was cut. You see how the MAGA people just say any old damn thing? They just cut all of that Medicare and Medicaid. They cut all of that. It ain't no extension to it. I don't know where you get that there's an extension to it, Fred, but you're ill-informed. They got to read the bill. We already read the bill. We know they cut Medicaid and Medicare out of the bill. Up and
That will
down.
continue to rise.
Obamacare, the signature legislation of the Obama era, now with premiums set to spike 300%. Young people now fleeing the program, and NPR saying that this is a death spiral for health insurance.
They cut $536 billion in cuts over the next decade of the big, beautiful bill. $536 billion out of that bill. $1 trillion in cuts over a 10-year period. Medicaid is going to be cut, reduced. It's not cuts to benefits today. Jesus.
And of course, Republicans don't like Obamacare, but remember this? I mean, that guy was popular with a lot of people on the left. Obamacare was this idea of universal health care, where health care is not a privilege but a right. This is from the Obama era website. The idea is this idea of risk pooling, where you put people into a risk pool and that is what makes insurance work. The problem with Obamacare is that people were forced to get into the risk pool. It wasn't optional. So there was a $750 annual fine for people who didn't want to participate in Obamacare or take on a health insurance program. This was hotly contested, and initially a district court found this unconstitutional. Then the Supreme Court overturned it and said that the individual mandate that forced people to buy health insurance, oftentimes through the health insurance marketplace, that was constitutional. And the unique thing about the ACA or Obamacare is that insurers were required to use a single risk pool when developing premiums. This is the problem. See, a risk pool assumes that risk is evenly distributed, like a random weather event. You're like, oh man, stinks for you, good thing that we all share the risk of insurance, now you get an insurance payout. See, that's not the way it works in healthcare, because we know that things like healthy lifestyles are the most controllable and influential factor in chronic disease, which consumes about 90% of our 5.3 trillion annual healthcare spend. In fact, when Democrats created Obamacare, they largely ignored every basic actuarial principle of insurance. And I don't know if they did this because they just had never done any business before and didn't know that the math wouldn't math if you basically forced people who were healthy to pay for something they'll never use, to then basically transfer their wealth to people who were unhealthy, or they just ignored that and thought that they would just sell this to the commoners and lie to them. But the only reason it hasn't already collapsed is because the Democrats passed additional taxpayer subsidies that insulated the insured from rising costs. So basically, taxpayers just paid more for this, the mistake of the Democrats. But I tell you who did get paid. So Obamacare was passed in March 2010. So the stock price of United Healthcare Group, one of the largest insurers in the United States, was $34-ish at the passing of Obamacare. In 2023, we were at about $600. That's a pretty good return on Obamacare. Or Merck, one of the biggest pharmaceutical companies, whose stock price was $36 on passage of Obamacare, and then up into 2023, it was more like $140. But now, the average family's health insurance plan is $27,000 a year, which is making people leave the Obamacare program, leave the marketplace. I mean, who can pay $27,000 for health insurance that you still are going to pay to receive care under, because you have deductibles that are often in the range of $20,000 or $30,000. So now all these health insurers stocks are crashing because enrollments are dropping. And now you have doctors doing things like opening their own cash pay clinics saying, we do not take insurance. Maybe that's because people like this lady were quoted $5,100 to get an MRI through her insurance, but if she paid cash, it would just be $700. Trump has tried to do something about this with pricing transparency executive orders. The first one ordered healthcare providers to just publish their prices, so then they just buried them on websites that were like 300 pages deep. So then he did a second one that makes it so that their prices have to be machine readable so that computers can go and get those prices and do things like set up price comparison websites. But regardless, John McCain in 2017 was the one who surprisingly shocked all Republicans and voted against the repeal of Obamacare, keeping it as law. So I don't know what the future is, but Obamacare is not working, and it's about to enter its death spiral phase for health insurance.
Dear friends, this is what the Democrats in Congress don't want you to know. That this shutdown is a big ploy to cover up their mistake with Obamacare. I'm sorry, I meant the Affordable Care Act, which, by the way, was the greatest lie in the history of healthcare in America, because the affordable premiums are really not affordable when they keep rising. Healthcare costs keep climbing while too few healthy people buy in. Insurers must cover everyone.
He said, when too few healthy people buy in. That was the basis for Obamacare. Healthy people had to buy in too. But once they got rid of the individual mandate, healthy people didn't want to buy in. When they could have bought in and it could have made it better, but they didn't want to buy in. So this is where we at now. What do we do to fix healthcare?
Even those already sick. So they raise the prices so that they can stay afloat. When the Obamacare was passed by the Democrats, they didn't care that the plan was a big pyramid scheme. They just took the lobbyist money and filled the pockets of the big insurance companies with your money.
The proposed budget cuts, what did you find?
Yeah, look, as you said, Mika, healthcare has become the major issue in this shutdown, and for good reason, as I'm going to show you. You haven't heard Republicans say lately, let's repeal Obamacare, have you? I haven't heard it. You probably haven't heard it, because it's not popular to say that. So they've been doing it surreptitiously, piece by piece. They are dismantling Obamacare, and that is what the Democrats are fighting for in this go-round. So let's take a look at the numbers. Obamacare started right about in here and with about 45 million Americans uninsured at the time. We brought it all the way down here to 25 million. In other words, 20 million Americans got insurance, largely, if not entirely, because of Obamacare. And now a combination of changes is going to bring that back up here. And it's going to take away 70% of the people who got health insurance under Obamacare are going to lose it, both because of what's in the big, beautiful bill and because of what's on the table right now, which I'm going to explain. And you can see it breaks down to a few pieces. These are the changes made in the big, beautiful bill. That's 10 million of this 14. And now what's on the table for this shutdown would be 4.2 million more people losing their health insurance if the Republicans get their way.
1:29 a.m. Senator McCain re-enters the chamber. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell stands at the front of the room like he had most of the night. The grin on his face, though, quickly disappears.
Mr. Peters.
Senator Bernie Sanders appears to nudge Senator Jeanne Shaheen as if to say, watch this. McCain waves his hand to get the attention of the Senate clerk, pauses for just a moment, and gives a dramatic thumbs down. An audible gasp on the Senate floor, and then commotion. Some Democrats can't contain their excitement. Senator Elizabeth Warren leans in to get a better look and breaks into applause. Senator Dianne Feinstein, a single assertive clap. Senator Sherrod Brown slams his hand on the desk in affirmation, while some Republicans, like Senator Marco Rubio, stare in disbelief. Senator Bill Cassidy drops his head. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer turns and waves his arms, apparently trying to quiet them, as Senator John McCain turns around and walks back to his chamber desk all alone.
Mr. Reid.
Everybody rock with me because I'm up now. Took your girl and I'm scoring like
The process has been developed. It is impossible to delay the votes that are going to take place. And if that were not the case, that is certainly what I would do, because I think it is important that the American people fully understand what is being voted on today. Everybody in America knows that our current healthcare system is broken. It is dysfunctional. It is cruel. It is by far the most expensive healthcare system in the world, and the only healthcare system of any major country that does not guarantee healthcare to all people as a human right, covering every man, woman, and child. We are unique in that respect.
You all hit the like button, please and thank you. Hit the like button. I need you to hit the like button, please and thank you. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, please and thank you. Hit the like button, subscribe button, share button, please and thank you.
And yet tonight, what this Senate is about to do is make a horrific situation even worse. So let's be clear what this vote is about. If this vote succeeds, over 20 million Americans are going to see at least a doubling in their premiums in the Affordable Care Act. In my state of Vermont...
Good morning, everyone. State Representative Acton Bain, the Democratic nominee for the 7th Congressional Special Election in Tennessee. Don't have the tiny mics because they are currently under my very chonky cat, and the cardinal rule in our house is that you do not disturb her when she is sleeping. So, but anyways, I went to bed early last night because I've been sick, and I woke up to the government shutdown possibly being ended, allegedly. But what last night shows us is we need a new generation of leadership in Washington. Career politicians have absolutely failed us. The 8 Senate Democrats who voted with the Republicans to cut a deal means that the Senate gets a vote on extending the Affordable Care Act subsidies. But currently Speaker Johnson has not agreed for a vote on this, to vote on this in the House. So that is why this race becomes so much more urgent, that healthcare is on the ballot. If we can pull off this victory on December 2nd, it'll absolutely stun Washington. If Van Epps wins, there will be no pressure on Speaker Johnson to let that vote happen on preserving the Affordable Care Act tax credits. But if we win, it changes everything. So as they said in Jurassic Park, hold on to your butts. Let's get out there. Early voting starts this Wednesday. Once again, we have a special congressional election in Tennessee. It's the last red to blue flippable seat in the entire country, and early voting starts this Wednesday.
The reason that we are trying to take action now on health care is because people's premiums are going up this coming week by letter. I'm struck by the extent to which sort of DC brain has infected us all, where we think that this is some sort of cooked up demand. I got a text from a buddy of mine. He got a letter, 40% increase for his father's premiums. This is not a talking point. This is not an allegation. This is literally what's happening. And 40%, you should be lucky if it's a 40% increase. The average increase is going to be 114%. And so the time to solve this problem is now. Open enrollment is now. Letters are going out now. Now, some insurance companies are sending out letters saying, your rates are increasing, but we're not sure by how much. And some insurance companies are being jawboned into not even sending letters at all. Now, there is only one thing worse than your rates going up on January 1. It is not being told until December that your rates are going up on January 1. People are going to lose their health care. This is not a joke. This is not a political talking point. This is what's going to happen across the country. The idea that this is some Democratic priority or independent priority or Republican priority is nonsense. Tens of millions of people are specifically going to see a 114% increase, and everybody else is in the same risk pool. And so all we're saying is, look, this is a very damaging issue for Republicans. And if we were terribly cynical, we would just let them stew in it. But we want to solve it because we care in our bones about the people we represent. And so there is still an opportunity to do something about this. There is still an opportunity to do something about this. None of us like shutdowns. But the only way to avoid a shutdown is to sit down between the political parties, and that includes the party out of power, and to make a deal. There's still time.
Republicans, they're yelling that illegal immigrants are on Obamacare. You know what, though? That's not even true. Undocumented immigrants can't legally get Obamacare or Medicaid. I mean, that's federal law. You know, what's really going on is that in some states use their own money to cover people outside the system. And politicians, well, they twist that to score points. Now Republicans are drawing the line in the sand saying, hey, we're not giving in because Obamacare covers illegal immigrants. And, well, that sounds tough, but it's not fixing the real problem. The real issue is what's happening right now. We're in the middle of a government shutdown because Congress won't agree on extending the ACA subsidies. You know, and if they don't, well, there's going to be millions of taxpayers that are about to lose health care that they already pay into. But that raises a bigger question. Why do we even have a system that collapses every time Washington can't pass a budget? I mean, is Obamacare really cheaper, or did government involvement make healthcare this expensive in the first place? It's funny how that works, isn't it? I mean, every time DC helps, prices climb, paperwork grows, personal choice disappears. You know, we're supposed to be a free market, not a halfway socialist healthcare experiment. So here's the question. Do we want healthcare that's affordable because it's efficient, or because the government's footing the bill with our taxes? Let's hear it in the comments.
From the proposed budget.
Okay. So my question is this. What are we going to do about us getting health care? What are we going to do about them taking our money?
In case you haven't connected the dots.
But not giving us health care. What are we going to do about it? People need health care regardless. They're going to need it because they don't want to help us do anything else. So we're going to...
There it is. In case you haven't connected the dots, the whole reason this is happening, the whole reason is because...
We've already fact-checked that. You all haven't fact-checked it. Someone going into a hospital, they're legally obligated to help people who walk into a hospital to get health care. If they walk into the hospital to get health care, doctors are legally obligated to do that. They do not get federal funds for health care. Why do you keep saying that? You need to freaking read. The states are the ones who extend health care if it's extended, not the federal government. Whatever state you belong in is the one that extends Medicaid or medical to somebody who walks into a hospital. They don't get, illegal aliens do not get Medicare. Jesus.
Because Donald Trump hates Obama so much. Let me explain. Ever since his first administration, he wanted to get rid of what? Obamacare, the ACA, and for many of his base, they wanted to get rid of Obamacare but keep the Affordable Care Act. This is the type of intelligence that he has behind him. So he hates Obama so much that he's never had a plan that could replace it, that would be better. I mean, his whole first administration, it was 2 weeks away, it was 2 weeks away. All the way through, all the way up until he ran a second time and lost. 2 weeks away, 2 weeks away, all the way up through, runs a third time.
He don't have a plan. The Republicans don't have a plan for medical. That's the problem. They don't have a plan to help anybody with medical.
2 weeks, didn't even mention it anymore. It was a joke. Let's be real. Did anybody even ask Donald Trump about his new health care during his third run for presidency? No, because we all knew he didn't have one. We all knew he couldn't do anything that was better than the Affordable Care Act or Obamacare, for some of you. So what does he do? He destroys Obamacare. He gets these subsidies to expire, making it explode. So he creates a problem in typical Trump fashion, so he can slide right in now with a solution. And guaranteed his solution is not going to benefit the American people. His solution is going to benefit his donors, people that put him into this position. This is the quid pro quo part. These are how these healthcare billionaire organizations and companies get their return. And profits will rise and skyrocket for all the people that supported him off of our backs, because we're going to have to go through a huge period of hurt with the prices going through the roof, because he's going to destroy what's in place now before he can put something else in that's going to be much higher than what we were paying before and nowhere near as comprehensive, but it'll be better than what the ACA turns into when he's done with it, making himself look like a hero in his mind anyway. Share your thoughts in the comments section. Follow me.
It's like this whole blue wave didn't even matter. So the government shutdown is finally over, I guess, after 40 days. But let's be real. This deal is a straight up slap in the face to the American people. The Senate passed a short-term funding bill that reopens the government, but only until January 30th. So they basically hit the snooze button on another shutdown. And only a few departments, such as Veterans Affairs, the Department of Agriculture, which includes the SNAP program, and Congress itself, get a full year of funding. And everybody else? Well, they're back on the chopping block in less than 3 months. Now it has to move to the House for voting, and then it goes to the president's desk for signing. And the fact that the Democrats agreed to this without securing healthcare subsidies for millions of Americans is insanity. The Republicans basically said, yeah, we'll vote on that in December. But there's no guarantee that they'll actually do that. So now people's healthcare is political hostage again. 8 Democrats crossed over to help Republicans break this filibuster. Fetterman, Cortez Masto, Durbin, Hassan, and King, and a few others who aren't really seeking re-election, basically said, yeah, let's reopen the government now and hope that they keep their word later. Like, have they not seen? Couldn't they see that this deal gives the Republicans exactly what they wanted? They get to walk away saying, see, we ended the shutdown. They get a political win and an escape route from the mess they created. And now, instead of owning the chaos, they can spin the story and basically blame the Democrats for the shutdown and for whatever happens next with healthcare. So when millions lose their coverage next year, guess who's taking the heat? Not them. Congress made sure they got full year funding for themselves. But your healthcare? That's pending review. Make it make sense. The last shutdown this long was in 2018. 7 years later, and it's still the same story. Politicians play chicken while real people suffer. So the government's pretty much about to reopen, but it ain't gonna be fixed. We got another shutdown cliff in January and a healthcare cliff in December. And a Congress that seems more interested in protecting its own paychecks than yours.
If you have Obamacare and you don't want it to be 75% more expensive, then you want Democrats to win this government shutdown fight. That's what's on the line. Simple as that. Republicans want to pass a resolution that will make subsidies for Obamacare disappear and in turn make it 75% more expensive for the average person. Democrats don't want that to happen. Which would you prefer?
The ACA did not make anything cheaper. What it did is it made insurance mandatory and told companies that they had to cover more stuff for more people, whether they needed it or not. And when you add coverage, prices go up, not down. That is simple math. But then they realized, people can't afford these new prices. So what do? They created subsidies. What are subsidies? Taxpayer money to help pay the bill.
So now you have these people out here saying this mad shit. The whole point is the subsidies went up. When the subsidies went up, They went up simply because the individual mandate went away. And once the individual mandate went away, because the Republicans took the individual mandate away, once the individual mandate went away, all of the people that were left on the ACA were elderly, disabled, handicapped, people who couldn't get coverage prior. People who couldn't get coverage prior. And once those people who couldn't get coverage prior were stuck on the on the ACA prices went up. So prices are cheaper when you have a lot of healthy people. For example, if you have 100 people that get on the ACA and 2 of those people have high diabetes and heart trouble, but the irregular 98 of them don't, then you could just charge regular pricing because all those other people are healthy. But if you have more people who have heart disease and more people who have diabetes on ACA than you do regular people who don't have anything wrong, then the prices are going to spike, which is what happened with ACA. So now we have a pricing out of the market for people because there's more people who needed to get insurance, who had pre-existing conditions, who had chronic illnesses that are on the ACA. Because before ACA came along, people couldn't get insurance unless it was sky high. Now it's going to go sky high because the subsidy is about to expire. This is what we're and the people who normally couldn't get insurance between 15,000 and 30,000, which is primarily people who are disabled, elderly, handicapped, whatever, because they don't work that many hours. This is a problem of their own making. They need to fix this ACA. So a lot of people don't understand how the ACA work.
Your plan is $800 a month. The government helps with $400. Well, guess what? It's still an $800 plan. You just didn't see the other half of that come out of your pocket. This is not girl math. It does not make it cheaper. It just hides the real price tag and shifts the bill to the taxpayers. And that missing $400 goes straight to the insurance companies. It's like welfare for billion-dollar corporations. And now the Democrats in the Senate are holding up the government over another $1.5 trillion to extend those same subsidies that were always meant to expire this year, by the way.
Yeah, but you do the same thing with your private employer. You do the same thing with your employer's insurance. I don't understand why you have a problem doing it for your regular for the ACA, and you do it for private insurance or your work insurance. You give them kickbacks too. Now we got a problem giving kickbacks? I'm confused.
They're not out there fighting for your doctor visits to get cheaper. They're out there fighting for their donors' profit margins. So no, subsidizing the ACA did not make healthcare affordable. It just made insurance companies richer while the taxpayers got the bill.
So we were paying for that anyway. So my question is this. Why can't we make it so that people can get free health insurance? Or we can give all those people regular Medicare and Medicaid and just be done with it without having premiums. That way, nobody gets a kickback. The government gets all of that information. Government gets all of that. I don't know.
I made a video about the whole Affordable Cares Act and how it ruined healthcare for America. I gave a lot of details, factual information about what's going on and why the government is shut down. Mainly because these insurance companies and the stronghold that they have against the U.S. economy. Because if you don't have insurance, you're going to be penalized. If you do want to get insurance, you're going to have to pay an arm and a leg. And I also said Barack Obama is receiving royalties or making money off of the Affordable Cares Act, also known as Obamacare. And all of the Democrats were coming onto my page talking about President Obama's not getting a royalty. He's not making any type of money from the Affordable Cares Act or even the insurance companies. And I was like, you know what? Let me go back and do some more research so I can update my information and give the correct information. I'm looking at it on the computer, but I'm going to put it on the screen so you guys can see. Former President Joe Biden with $8.2 million he received from insurance companies. Mitt Romney, a Republican, $7.7 million. Kamala Harris, $6.7 million. Hillary, $5.5 million. And our favorite one, Mr. Obamacare himself, $5.5 million. And now we're back to Mitch McConnell. He's a Republican, but he's really a Democrat. He's just there for the Democrats to have more votes. He doesn't fall to any Republican politics. Chuck Schumer, another Democrat, $2.9 million. As you can see, we have all these politicians from Democrats and Republicans that are making millions of dollars, making things a lot more expensive. And come around tax season, if you do not have insurance, you're gonna be penalized. But these goofballs in total made over.
But that's the whole point. The whole point is to make Obamacare better. Are we going to make Obamacare better, or are we just not going to do anything about the healthcare? Then scrap the whole thing, and then we have people who are going to die, who can't afford, who going to have medical somehow, some way. So what do? What do people do? Do they just let the healthcare go by the wayside? Because that's not what we can do. Most of these people, you can't scrap it. You need to have something to replace it. Stop saying scrap it. Come up with an idea. What can we do? You either make it better or replace it. Why don't we just do the socialized healthcare? Why don't we give the socialism? Why don't we give them the Medicare and Medicaid? Why don't we just give them that? We can do that. That'd be amazing. Then we could just get everybody can get Medicaid and Medicare. Then we ain't got to worry about all that. Okay. You all hit the like button, subscribe button, share button, do all of that, please and thank you. Hit the like button. Blue Cross Blue Shield. But here's the thing. The insurance companies don't want to take on people who have chronic illnesses and people who have pre-existing conditions. They don't want to take those people on. And so those are the people that are going to be thrown to the wolves. Socialism works just fine. We have socialism all throughout this United States. Stop it. If you don't know that, then be quiet. So the whole point is have them join the Medicaid, Medicare, okay? Medicaid, Medicare, do what you got to do. Put these people on that. Hopefully we can pull something together so these people can get some kind of help, because this Medicaid and Medicare, what they got going on, this insurance is not working for our people. And they're getting kickbacks and they're taking the money, and these people are still not getting all the coverage that they need. So we have to do something. We have to do something. We cannot just drop them off of the ACA. We just can't drop them off in the middle of nowhere and not have medical insurance. Okay? Here's the thing. Even if you just paid cash, you still the medical bill, and most people before ACA came along were going to the hospital, right? They were going to the hospital and they were getting their Medicare from the hospital. The bills were skyrocketing. Now that stuff goes back on your credit report. Y'all do know that the Republicans lobbied and got our medical records to be put back on our credit report, right? So if you have a medical bill, they will put that on your credit report now. It is what it is. The Republicans lobbied to get that back on your credit report. So now we need to have something in place to help these people. We don't know how or when, but we need to start advocating for that, because everybody needs medical. Everybody needs medical, dental. They need all of these things. And it's great. It's amazing. Everybody's healthy and they got medical through their job. But not everybody can afford to have medical through their job. Okay? There's people who can have jobs and there is no medical in that job. Okay? Some people don't have medical through their job. Okay? And what do we do about those people who don't have medical through their job?
Looking up this information because it's literally here for, and it's a .org site. These people love to say President Trump loves the misinformed people, but whenever something doesn't make sense, I look up information, I repeat the information. You got Democrats coming on here talking about, I don't know what I'm talking about.
What happens if they expire, it becomes a very different ballgame. 4 million people become uninsured almost immediately based on some estimates out there. Dramatic rate hikes would follow as well. How high would those rate hikes be? Well, if you were making $18,000 a year, not much, your current premium for this is $0. That's great, but then $378 is your new premium. $378 is the change. If you're making $35,000 a year, your current premium, $1,033. Your new premium, if it expires, look at that, more than double, so up 15, almost 1,600. And if you're 55,000, 4,000 jumps up to 5,478, another giant jump there. And look at this on what they call higher earners. Imagine an older couple out there who's making $85,000 a year. That's not.
I'm saying that we need to start voting for them for candidates that are going to forward the American people. The Republicans have the House, the Senate, and the White House. The House, the Senate, and the House, and the Senate. White House, right? Why haven't they put anything in place? Why haven't they introduced their own medical system to help the people? Why haven't they done that? Why haven't they done any of that to help the American people? I keep asking people, put in the chat what the Republicans have done for the American people between the amounts of 30,000 and 150,000. What have they done to help those people? Okay. What have they done to help those people that make between 30 and 150K? They have not, nobody has been able to tell me what they have done to precisely help change anything that goes into the pocket of regular, ordinary, middle of the road Americans. Okay. So the Republicans are not doing anything either. Neither the Republicans nor the Democrats are doing anything for any of us. Tax breaks don't mean jack shit when price of food goes up every week. Stop it. So the whole point is we need to have somebody who figures out what we can do to lower prices, lower gas prices, lower food prices, lower all of this stuff that we need help with. Why can't somebody do some kind of mandatory regulatory thing where rent stays a certain amount? Where if you want to rent or you want to have a apartment that's one bedroom, you can't charge no more than $900 for a one bedroom. Or why is it we can't regulate if you got two bedrooms? Why is it that you can't pay? You don't have to pay no more than $1,000 for two bedrooms. Why is it that we can't get somebody who can regulate housing prices? Why is it we can't get somebody to regulate electric prices? One way to electric prices or regulate X, Y, and Z. The whole point is we need to help somewhere. The people who make between 30 and 150K. Okay. We need to have some kind of relief because everything seems to be going up, 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 up. Okay. No, I'm not saying the Republicans here. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying we need to find somebody who does care. We need to find somebody who cares about the individual person that makes between 30,000 and 150,000. It always seems to go to the rich people above that, but we can't never get any kind of help. Okay. I don't know about nobody else. Every week I go to one of the cheap stores where they got cheap canned goods, and I just buy $50 or $100 worth of cheap canned goods so that I can keep stuff in the house so that if I run out of any kind of food or money, then I can back it up. Okay. But I do know that there's no help coming in any way, shape, or form, but we running towards a cliff. We are running towards a cliff. But I know that we can't afford to give money away like we gave to Argentina. We can't be loaning money out. See, the thing with the money to Argentina was the billionaires and the millionaires invested in Argentina $20 billion. And then once that idiot who ran Argentina, who was in charge of Argentina, burnt up the money, Trump went over there and said, oh, okay, y'all don't have to lose y'all money. I give y'all 20 billion more. I give y'all 20 billion more to cover your losses. See, he covered their losses. We can't get nobody to cover ours. Yes, 40 billion. We couldn't get nobody to cover our losses. Okay, but there's losses that are coming because the economy is about to crash. Soon enough, we're going to start hitting a recession. We're going to start hitting a real recession. Okay, because of the decisions that the Republicans have made. They have made decisions that have harmed this country. They have harmed the country. They have not helped the country. They have dragged more and more money away from the middle class and given it to the rich. Now we all down here starving. We can't get Medicaid. We can't get free lunch for the kids. We can't get regulatory rent. We can't get the food prices lowered. We can't get the gas lowered. We can't get none of that. And yet and still the billionaires and all of them are thriving and doing the best that they can. Okay. And now we got our Republican leaders moving on to military bases. They moving on to military bases like they know some shit that we don't know. Okay, like we need. And what happened to them putting our homeless into labor camps or putting our homeless into forced labor? Okay, get them into housing, get them into some kind of facility where they all go to a facility, clean them up, get them off drugs, and get them out in the workforce. Make them get on them farms and start picking those fruits and those apples and those berries and all that kind of shit. I don't know. Okay, help them do something. Help them get up off the street. We don't have homeless on the street. Maybe we can help them in that particular way. I don't know. All I know is we got shit going on, and it's not good for any of us. Okay, we are not doing anything for the people that make X, Y, and Z. Okay, so we're sick of doing just nothing. Nothing is happening. Nothing is going on. These people are not helping us. Okay, so we need to force them to do something. I don't know what, but we need to force them to do something.
Not a huge, that's not billionaires or anything like that, but that's a higher earner in this case. Here's their current premium, $7,225 per year. That's 8.5% of their income. That's sort of the top end under the current rules. Under the change, if it expires, that will jump to $25,000 per year. That's almost a 30% increase. That's almost 30% of their income, not an income, 30% of their income for the year. That's a tough thing if you're making $85,000.
I hate that song, but it is what it is. Okay, so let it get passed. That's when it passed. They got it passed. But the whole point was it wasn't good enough and it didn't go far enough. We needed to make sure people were able to afford ACA. They should have codified a lot of that stuff.
Around 24 million Americans are going to start shopping for health insurance on the Affordable Care Act exchanges for next year. The government is currently shut down as Congress fights over whether or not to extend funding that help people pay for that.
Everybody has got to work. Everybody has got to work. I'm sorry. You got to get the homeless up off the streets, and the homeless got to start contributing. You got to get the homeless up off the streets, and they got to start contributing. Our young children have to start, the younger ones, 18 and up, they got to start contributing some way, somehow. We need to pull together as a nation. We got to do something, but we need to have health care. So we need to get them to give us the health care or get some kind of health care in place to help these people. Okay? Rent is going up. Everybody's rent is going up. People pay $1,500, $1,700 for 2 bedrooms, 1 bedroom, 3 bedrooms. That's crazy. But what has anybody done for it? Has anybody called their senator? Anybody called their local representation and asked them what the hell is going on with the rents? Y'all can't regulate these corporations that bought all this housing up. Y'all can't regulate none of them. What's going on?
Coverage. If they don't reach a deal, all of those people are in for some serious sticker shock. So the original Obamacare passed in 2010, and it set up this system of income-based subsidies to help people buy their own insurance.
Millions of people will get tax breaks to help them afford coverage, which represents the largest middle-class tax cut for health care in history.
But over the years, a lot of people who they thought would sign up for insurance didn't because it was too expensive. So during the pandemic, they extended these subsidies to lower the price of insurance for almost everyone who bought it.
This is considered one of the biggest things my administration can do, lower cost and expand coverage.
And then what happened was the enrollment started skyrocketing. It's basically doubled. Ironically, a lot of the new enrollment did not occur in states that Democrats govern. It happened in places that we think of as being more Republican. Signups have more than tripled in a bunch of southern states. These are places where there were a lot of low-income people who worked in the kind of jobs that didn't offer them insurance. There are also states that decided not to expand Medicaid under Obamacare, and so that meant that those low-income people didn't have access to any other kind of government program to provide their insurance. If the subsidies don't get extended, on average, the amount people are going to pay for their insurance is going to double. But under the hood of that kind of average increase, there's actually quite a lot of variation. For really low-income people, imagine someone making about $22,000 a year. That person doesn't pay anything towards their insurance now. If the subsidies expire, that person will have to pay.
Yeah, it was many factors that made it go up. Healthy people didn't sign up because they had jobs. A lot of people in rural areas, red states, they signed up and then they got on the dole. So it was a lot of factors that burnt up Obamacare. Them taking away the individual mandate, a lot of factors made it higher. Otherwise, at the beginning, ACA, Obamacare was fine when they had their individual mandate, and then people had to sign up in X, Y, and Z. But once the Republicans took the individual mandate away, once people, all the rural areas, mostly Republican, started signing up for ACA because they couldn't get insurance anywhere else, and the regular people didn't sign up for it, and other states didn't, it just went by the wayside. We need to correct ACA. We need to correct Obamacare.
$66 a month. For someone earning around $35,000 a year, their premium will go up by $132. And for an older person who's making a little more, say around $65,000, their premiums are going to go up from a couple $100 a month to maybe as much as a couple $1,000 in the most expensive markets. Even though a lot of Republicans continue to dislike Obamacare, they have also come to realize that this is a policy that benefits a lot of the people they represent. There are quite a lot of Republican lawmakers who have publicly acknowledged that they would really like to have a solution to this problem to prevent their constituents from losing affordable health insurance. And I think that's why Democrats have chosen this issue. And I also think it's why there is a chance that there could be a bipartisan deal to extend this funding.
Did the Democrats cave, at least 8 of them, in voting to invoke cloture to eventually move on to vote to reopen government? In short, I think the answer is for sure yes. Now, also keep in mind, I think it's clear that within the Democratic circles, they basically found 8 people willing to vote to do this, and the rest of them could vote no. How do I know that? Because the people that are voting for cloture are either not running again or just got reelected. So shows the courage there. But listen, ultimately, the Republicans have made it clear all year that they are not going to talk to Democrats. They've bragged about it. They've bragged about how they don't need them, how they're not going to discuss anything with them. Donald Trump has done the same thing. And all of a sudden, we get to this point where Democrats have a tiny bit of power, a tiny bit. And that is just whether or not to invoke cloture. And so they can have every right, according to the Constitution, to request something for it. And I think they've requested something very normal, which is let's figure out these ACA subsidies, which, by the way, the Republicans could have been negotiating with them the whole time. But what's happened instead? Mike Johnson has kept every Republican home for like the last 2 months, yet they've been paid twice, $30,000 gross for each member of Congress during this shutdown. They had a great Gatsby party.
Y'all gonna make me start running for motherfucking office. Y'all gonna make me start running for motherfucking Congress. Y'all keep getting paid like that. Y'all getting that kind of money. Y'all gonna make me try to run for office.
At Mar-a-Lago, they're continuing to build this big, massive ballroom. It is completely out of touch with the pain that the American people are feeling in this shutdown. And while I've been in the rooms and I understand like how that pressure grows and how that, you get the calls and the people that aren't getting paychecks and flights are canceled and it makes it really easy to want to vote to reopen government, the Democrats honestly have Republicans on the ropes here. And while pain...
They had them on the ropes, but they caved because the donors, the rich donors said, y'all got to cave. Y'all got to give in. We don't give a damn. And so they gave in. They just gave in. They just gave up. All of them.
Is certainly bad.
Yeah, y'all just mad because Adam told the truth about your party. Y'all just mad because Adam told the truth about your douchebag party.
The long-term gain, which is being able to ensure those ACA subsidies, would have been worth it. But instead, it looks like the pain got too great, and they're going to get promised a vote, assuming that Republicans actually follow through on their promise this time. So I think they did cave. I think the Democratic base has a right to be upset here.
Imagine booing the commander-in-chief when he is reading off the oath of enlistment for the men and women that have volunteered in the American volunteer military to defend your life and your liberty and your freedom, because that is the right and patriotic thing to do. Could you imagine the chutzpah, the vile cretin that would do such a thing? Is nothing sacred anymore? Is there no cultural or political common ground left in this country? You know, once upon a time, we would unify around things like the flag, the military, law enforcement. These days, all of those things are political. If you see a flag, if you see Old Glory hanging out on the front porch of a home, you immediately know that person is a Trump supporter, is a MAGA Republican. Why? Because there's not a Democrat in the year 2025 who will be shot dead with Old Glory hanging out on the front porch. I'm sorry to say it, it just happens to be true. Law enforcement, are you kidding me? The whole anti-cop, defund the police, Black Lives Matter agenda, they're horrific on that. The military now, too. They're booing the oath of enlistment. Disgusting
So here's an
stuff.
explosive update on the government shutdown is what I'm hearing, right? So it's not what you're being told. That's all I got to say. The headlines say it's about healthcare and rising premiums. You've heard it all, right? And then Democrats are saying that Trump wants to raise the cost of Obamacare. Well, it's not that he wants to. That's not the full picture. Here's what's actually going on. So when Obamacare, which, as you know, is the Affordable Care Act, first came in, it made health insurance mandatory. But after COVID, President Biden signed new legislation that temporarily expanded subsidies, basically tax credits, to make health insurance cheaper for Americans. Now, these weren't just discounts. And here's how it works. It's pretty scary to think about it. The Department of the Treasury sent the difference in cash directly to the insurance companies. So if your premium was, let's say, $600 a month, and the new plan lowered it to $400, the government literally paid the $200 difference straight to your insurer. That's billions of tax dollars going out every single month directly to private insurance companies. Those enhanced subsidies expire on the 31st of January or 31st of December 2025, and starting in January, that money stops. And when it stops, premiums go back up fast. Millions of Americans will suddenly see their costs go up by 20 or 30% or more. So we got to.
So why is it that they won't do anything to get the middleman out of the middle? Why won't they get rid of the $200 subsidy that is going to the private insurer and change the ACA so we won't have to pay for the middleman to get money? And then you can straighten out ACA. Why they won't do that? They don't want to do it because it's a gift to the insurance companies. And then the enrollment is going to drop like a rock. Watch.
Do something. So why is Washington gridlocked? Well, because those subsidies aren't just helping you. They're a cash pipeline for the insurance industry. And there it is. It's also free money for illegal health insurance. Boom, there it was. And when that pipeline closes, the insurance companies lose billions of free money. That's why the Democrats are filibustering and refusing to move forward. They're not doing it for you. They're doing it for the companies funding their re-election campaigns and the illegals who they hope will vote for them. Insurance companies.
Stop spreading lies. Stop spreading lies. It's a lie. There's a law that says illegals can't get Medicaid or Medicare or Section 8 or public aid or food stamps. Stop spreading the lie. The law is PRWORA 104 to 193. Started in 1996. It's a lie that they can get medical. The only way they get medical is if they walk into a hospital and a doctor is legally obligated to help a person who walks into the hospital. So therefore, the Democrats are not working for illegal aliens. Please stop spreading that lie. Please stop spreading that lie. And please don't come in my chat talking about the lie, because it's a lie. I just explained the lie to Mail. You didn't listen? Are you dumb? You can't hear?
Pharmaceutical giants, corporate donors, the groups that pump millions into campaign coffers every cycle is who we're talking about. They're telling the politicians, you either extend this program or we're going to fund your opponent next election. And that's exactly what's happening. The Democrats are shuffling. So the government stays shut down. The American people get held hostage, and the money keeps flowing. Not to you, but to the middlemen. So let's call it what it is. This shutdown isn't about protecting America.
The kids are American children. If they're American children, then their American children can get it because they're American children.
Americans. It's about protecting a cash pipeline from the U.S. Treasury straight into the private corporations and a new voter bloc for the Democrats. And until we break that loop...
Why exactly was your son refused? Why exactly was he refused? Please explain. Why was he refused?
Until citizens start leading, not career politicians protecting their donors, nothing changes. That's the citizen leadership I always keep talking about. Focusing on what's real, following the money and demanding accountability, not headlines. Because the truth is simple. If you're...
That's the whole point. I think I said it to you all. You didn't listen. States can offer them medical if they want to. That's state. Biden is federal. Gavin Newsom is state. Biden can't give them insurance, but Gavin Newsom can. So therefore, states can give them medical, treat them medically if they want to. Y'all need to know the difference. There's a federal law that says federal money can't, just like federal money can't go towards abortions, federal money can't go towards illegal aliens. Y'all need to start reading for real, for real. The parents can be illegal, but the children can be born here, Black America, and they can get services.
Paying the bill, then you deserve to know.
Y'all just be saying anything.
Where your money actually goes. Wouldn't you agree?
You probably heard the Democrats caved on the shutdown. They didn't get any of the healthcare stuff. And it's probably no coincidence that they did this right after the election, where Mondani won and a bunch of Democrats won office. Because they saw the polls and they're like, oh, if voters don't want us to capitulate to the Republicans, okay, well, we won't until after the election. And while this frustration is fresh...
Wait a minute, I heard that Kamala brought the abortion truck to the DNC. Let me see what that means. I heard that, but I never looked at it.
I'm asking you to watch this video. Entertainment purposes only, in opinion. Probably learn something that's very, very important about the Democrats, which is the Democrats' actions and rhetoric during the campaign season does not line up with their actions when it's not a campaign. They usually do the opposite, which is further right than the Republicans. They ran on ending the border wall construction and deporting fewer people with Biden and Kamala. They built more new barrier than Trump did with the border wall, broke more federal laws to do it, and broke Obama's record of forced removals of migrants in 4 years. They are the further far right wing party. Take the last two presidents, for example. Barack Obama runs on ending the Iraq and Afghanistan wars, immediately escalates those wars, gets us into 5 new wars, becomes the only two-term president to be at war every single day of his administration. Says he's going to bring about hope and change, transparency, address issues facing Black people. What does he do? He arrests and incarcerates more whistleblowers than ever in history, more than like the 8 previous presidents before him combined. Unalives a father for having a controversial YouTube channel with a drone strike. Unalives that father's kid and his friends who had nothing to do with his controversial YouTube channel, also with a drone, while they were at a coffee shop. American citizens, gives police more military equipment than any president prior to him. They go on to have 4 record years of number of people unalived by police, including the 3 most Black people killed by police in U.S. history, at least since they started counting. I know they've been counting since at least like the 50s. All of his bailouts go to banks. Oh, and like car companies. Not to.
What the fuck is he saying? You making my head hurt with this fucking talk. What in the fuck is he saying? Oh my God.
I'll lose 85,000. Biden, Kamala smashed the all-time record for reports of migrant kids who are missing, being trafficked and worked in very exploitative jobs like roofing and in factories. We're talking 13, 14-year-olds working 50, 60 hours a week. They give the green light for cops to brutalize students all over the country. Dozens, if not hundreds, are hospitalized. 4,000 arrested. Professors hospitalized, brutalized, arrested, losing their jobs. Clamped down on the Cop City protest to the point where they make it illegal for union workers to go on strike. Then they won't overrule the Senate parliamentarian to get $15
of healthcare in the United States. Here are the 4 buckets of healthcare and why the Affordable Care Act subsidies are so important for millions and millions of Americans. Bucket number 1, the system in the United States is mostly employer-based healthcare. That's where we get our healthcare. If we're lucky enough to have a job where the employer provides healthcare. Now, healthcare is very expensive, and so the employer pays some and we pay some. Bucket number 2 is Medicare. That's for when you retire. For most Americans, they've been paying into Medicare. So they pay some, Medicare pays some, and they get health care in their retirement. Bucket number 3, there are some folks who can't work because of a disability or who work a low-wage job where they don't provide health care, and this is the Medicaid bucket. Tens of millions of people get their health care through Medicaid. Bucket number 4 is everybody else, and that's the Affordable Care Act bucket, and it is a growing bucket. Fewer and fewer jobs come with healthcare, and so you have more and more people who have to go.
Oh, okay. That's what the lie is. There it is. There it is. This mobile women. According, this mobile clinic was physically near the convention venue, which meant many people assumed the DNC was offering that service. But it had no there is no credible evidence that this was a campaign stop for Kamala Harris's campaign. They did not arrange for those people to be within a vicinity of this campaign stop. The clinic publicly stated it was not affiliated with the DNC, meaning the DNC did not organize, sponsor, or manage the clinic. It had nothing to do with the DNC or Kamala Harris. This was something Planned Parenthood health operate. What was it? A mobile health unit operated by Planned Parenthood was stationed in Chicago, just blocks away from the Democratic National Convention. Blocks away, the clinic ran for 2 days and offered medical abortions, vasectomies, and emergency contraception by appointment to people who pre-registered. According to the affiliate data over the 2 days, it was 8 peel abortions and 9 vasectomies. The clinic publicly stated it was not affiliated with DNC. So what are you talking about? What are we talking? Oh, that's what they were talking about. They made it seem like Kamala did that, and nothing to do with Kamala.
The marketplace, which the Affordable Care Act created. This is where they get their health care. You also have people who are self-employed. They're entrepreneurs. They're contract workers. They run small businesses. They are an employee at a small business. They are a farmer. I mean, there are so many people now, especially in this economy, that get their health care through the marketplace. And just like everybody else, they need some help paying for their health care. That's where the Affordable Care Act subsidies come into play. If your health care is $1,000 a month, you may be able to pay $500, but then you need help paying the other $500. If politicians take those subsidies away, you will either lose your health care because you can't afford it, or you will go into debt. So what should happen now? Obviously, in the short run, the Affordable Care Act subsidies must be extended. And in the long run, I believe we need to create a public option where people can buy into Medicare. Medicare is the best, most affordable health care you can get. But in the end, you need a Congress and a president that understand that people need help buying health insurance and that we need everyone to have health care.
So it is what it is. Everybody needs to have health care. Okay? Everybody needs to have health care. Okay? Nobody mentioned this mobile clinic at the DNC. Nobody mentioned anything about a healthcare clinic at the DNC. You're just lying. So here we are. We need to push our senators because they trash. We need to push senators on both sides to get something on the books for healthcare. I'm looking through all the records and nobody mentioned anything about a clinic in the DNC. There's no sign of a mobile clinic itself being mentioned from the DNC stage or in official program material, according to Elon's Grok, according to Google's, what the hell is that thing called? That Google's Gemini, according to ChatGPT. Not now one of them said anything. They all said no. There was no sign, no mention from the DNC stage or official program materials about that. Oh, shut your ass up, Sharon. So anyway, we need to push our senators. We need to push all of those people to help these poor people, okay? These poor people who need help. Because if they expire, we're going to be back here. We're going to be right back here at the end of January, okay? Because at the end of January, we're going to be back at another stalemate. We're going to be back at another stalemate at the end of January. Simply because these people are going to put us in the same position come January. And this is what I hate. Us being at the same place that we were again in January. Because the Republicans are supposed to put a vote on the floor in December for health care to extend the subsidies. We already know, everybody knows that the Republicans are going to say no. So therefore, they're not going to be extended, which means there's going to be another, and the budget, this budget that we're fighting on right now, this budget is only extended until the end of January. So we're going to be back at the same cliff. We're going to be back at the same cliff come January, at the end of January. So we're going to be right back in the same position that we're in right now, which means we need to start pushing our senators to extend those ACAs and not give the money to the help, change it so that the ACA payments don't go up, change it so that money doesn't go directly into the insurance company's hands, change it so that we can do what X, Y, and Z. But what we do know is the minute they go back into session, the House goes back into session. The minute the House goes back into session, that young lady who is the Democrat is going to show up and she's going to be sworn in. And the Epstein files are going to be released. And the Epstein files are worse than what we know. And the Epstein files is going to reveal all the pedos and all of those people that are in those books and in those roles. Okay? People don't have enough money to get insurance, Sam. People don't have enough money to get insurance, Sam. So people don't deserve to have insurance. They don't deserve to have insurance they can pay for. Between the amounts of 15,000 and 30,000, that's primarily the people that need that insurance. So they don't deserve to have options for insurance. Okay? That's the whole point, to offer them some options. Those girls were over 16, they still children. 16-year-olds are still children. Okay? It's supposed to be a right. Insurance is supposed to be a right. Healthcare is supposed to be a right. Not the insurance, healthcare. So we need to push our senators to do what we got to do. Otherwise, they all trash. That's the whole point. They're trash, and they know they trash. They are beholden to donors. They're beholden to the insurance companies. They're beholden to the insurance companies, and we need to do something about that. We need to push them to do something about this Medicare. We're going to be back. We're going to be right back here at the end of January. We're going to be right back here because people are going to start feeling the pain of those insurance. Wait a minute. How many people get Obamacare? Wait a minute. How many people get ACA? Does anybody know how many people take advantage of ACA? What is the amount of people on ACA? Okay. How many people are on ACA? Let's look. 24. Okay. So total. What is the total? What is it? What is the total? How many people? Shit. Okay. So 44 million people are on ACA. 44 million people take advantage of the ACA. So we're gonna have another shutdown come January. 44 million people's subsidies are gonna go up come January. No, what we're broke. Why we're broke is we giving money to foreigners, and we need to stop giving money to foreigners, and we need to stop giving tax breaks to rich people. That's why we broke. We got some of the smartest people on the planet that live in this goddamn country. Why can't those smart ass people figure out how to give us ACA? Why can't we get smart ass people to figure out how to get us out of debt? Why can't we use these smart ass people to figure out how to extend Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare? Why is it that we can't figure? We got the smartest people in this on the planet. Why can't we figure out how we can extend all of these programs and make them work for us? And that way we don't come out our ass with no more money. And these people can still get the things that they need. Yeah, they folded. And now we in the middle of it. And the whole point is we need to get rid of the people that we got in charge right now. If we can get rid of the people we got in charge right now and then get some smart. We have the smartest people on the planet. If we have the smartest people on the planet that work and live in this country, why can't we figure out how to afford ACA for people who need insurance? Why can't we figure out how to save that Social Security program? That's my whole point. My whole point is these senators, all of them, Republican and Democrat, need to start working for the American people. They need to start working for the American people. Okay. The whole point is we have socialism in here. We have Medicaid and Medicare. That's a socialist program. There's a lot of socialist programs that we have here. The Medicaid and Medicare socialist program. Why can't we extend that to regular, everyday, ordinary individual people? Why can't we do that? And then that way we can have a tax for each individual person. Each person got to pay $3. So everybody can have whatever. But there's some smart people on this planet. Why the hell can't we get them to figure out how to help us? Okay. And that's all I'm saying. Instead of all of our senators being beholden to their donors. All of these people are beholden to donors, APAC, the insurance company, Israel. They're beholden to all these people. We need them to start working for us. And once they start working for us, then maybe we'll get some things done. You can't tell me that nobody knows how to regulate rental prices. You can't tell me nobody knows how to make sure that we have our own oil here in the United States where we don't have to pay such high prices. You can't tell me they don't know how to regulate food somehow, some way. You can't tell me they don't know how to starve the homeless problem. Figure out how to get the homeless people off the street and get them back into society, and they can be contributing. You can't tell me that you don't know how to do that. We have not even gotten a quarter of the people out of here, the immigrants out of here that they said they were going to get out of here, and they ain't got a quarter of those people out of here yet. Why is that? Okay. And yet we got shut your ass up, Cling D. Your party is so fucking amazing that they running the system in the ground. Shut your ass up if you don't have no good ideas. Okay? You don't have no good idea. You didn't say jack shit when they were giving the money away this summer. You didn't say jack shit when a rich scammer gave your money to other motherfucking rich people. Shut your ass up. You didn't have nothing to say when he gave all your money away to rich motherfuckers. Now you want to come over here caping for the rich people. Talking 2-point crazy. Shut your ass up. Caping for rich people. I hate people who come over here and cape for rich. I hate poor people who come over here and cape for other rich people. You poor and you over here caping for rich people. Stop it. We already have socialism here. We already have Medicaid, Medicare, all of that stuff is socialism. Food stamp socialism, Section 8 socialism, police department, fire department, all of those things are a form of socialism. Y'all kill me when you get in here talking about we don't want socialism, we don't want to do all that. Stop it. Stop it. Don't come over here caping for rich people. This is a platform in which we want to have ideas about what we can do to make our government better. Okay? What can we do to make our government better? Okay? The whole point is we got representatives that are beholden to rich people. We need to find candidates that are not beholden to rich people. Immediately beholden to rich people. That's our problem. No, it's not a matter of voting Republican because you Republicans don't know how to govern. That's the problem. You don't know how to govern, and Democrats don't know how to hold the line. That's the problem. That's our problem right there. You Republicans have been in power for a whole year, and you haven't done anything for us middle of the road people. People making less than $150K. You haven't done anything for us middle of the road people. So no, it's not a matter of voting Republican. Nobody wants you all's ideas because you don't have any ideas. You don't stand for anything. You don't stand for helping the poor, the indigent, the helpless, the disabled, the veterans. You don't stand for helping any of those people. We need those people help. We need those people helped. Okay? Stop it. Socialism works just fine. Police department is part of socialism. Fire department is part of socialism. Y'all need to start reading. I can't keep telling you this stuff. You can't keep telling you this stuff and talking 2-point crazy. Come on. So here's the thing. Why do you make less than $150K? No skip. Stop it, Kling. Stop it, Kling. I'm not advocating for me. I'm advocating for poor people and veterans and homeless and the disabled and the poor people. That's who I'm advocating for. I'm on my way out the door. You all need to be advocating for a better world instead of trying to own the libs. Y'all need to grow the fuck up. Okay, so you all hit the like button, the share button, do all those good things. I appreciate you all coming out. We had a good run tonight. No, it's not social. Of course it's not. But as long as you say it's not, please hit the like button and the share button. We have this kind of content every night. Tomorrow I might do something on that Jasmine Crockett person and that Marjorie Taylor Greene person. Let's see what kind of nonsense they getting up to. Jasmine Crockett and Marjorie Taylor Greene might be the subject of tomorrow's show. So please like, share, subscribe. I appreciate it. Socialism, we have all kinds of socialist programs. Y'all need to look into these things. I can't keep telling you everything. Okay? We can't, you some of this stuff. I understand. I get it. Jesus. Do something on Nancy Pelosi? Oh, y'all want to hear about Nancy Pelosi? Let's do some research on Nancy Pelosi. Let's see what she getting out the door with. Let's see what kind of money she walking out the door with. Okay. I'm gonna do some research on her. Maybe we can do her tomorrow. See what she up to. Maybe she up to some bullshit. We don't know. Or maybe we can do Stephen Miller. Let's see what the Stephen Miller, who is the hand in the back of Trump's jacket. We can see what they up to. She getting out of there with big money. Or Mitch McConnell. As a matter of fact, because a lot of these people got a lot of damn money. Where the hell they make all this money from? And y'all can't give none of this money to us poor people. I know, right? Shea Place, I know, right? Okay, see? This is what we can agree on. We need to expose all of their ad. Oh, she was born with money? Oh, okay. Well, we can check it out. Let's check it out. I was just thinking of doing the Marjorie Taylor and Jasmine tomorrow. Hey, we can do somebody else. We can do other people. Because they need to be exposed too. All of them need to be exposed. All of them leaders need to be exposed because they taking money from the American people. It is what it is. We need to find out what the hell is going on. So y'all do me a favor. Hit the like and share, subscribe button. Please and thank you. We hear money laundering, a lot of money laundering. I believe that for real. Specifically today, they convinced me. So y'all hit the like and share and subscribe. I will talk to you all tomorrow. Yeah, Jazz and did not have this kind of money when she was born. She didn't. Okay, somebody said she was born for money, but you saying she wasn't born with this kind of money. Oh, okay. You got to figure it out. Like, share, subscribe. I appreciate you all showing up. We will be back here tomorrow at 10 o'clock. I appreciate all of you. Please like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate you all coming to see the show. Please and thank you. Go back over it. Leave any kind of comments that you wish to. Please and thank you. I'd appreciate comments if that was the deal. I would ignore me too if I were you. You want Sam Perkins? You better stop it. Me and you gonna go at it. Okay? Me and you gonna go at it. I appreciate you all. But I gotta rest my throat and I gotta get up early and I gotta do some things to make some bread and all that good stuff. And I appreciate all of y'all coming over. Please and thank you. Please hit the like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate